This episode of Around the Oval is brought to you by Todd Pennington with Revolution Mortgage. Hey everyone, Alex Gleitman here with a special edition of Around the Oval brought to you by Todd Pennington with Revolution Mortgage. We are here with the latest commitment for Ohio State's 2022 class, Dassan McCullough. Dassan was a guest of the show a few weeks back when we were discussing his recruitment, but he decided to end things a little bit earlier than expected, committing to Ohio State and actually becoming the first technically non-Ohio player. Jair Brown now moved to Ohio, so non-Ohio player into this class, and the fifth overall player committed to Ohio State for 2022. Dassan, congratulations. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you. Excited to be a Buckeye.
Yeah, for sure. And so I know this is a decision you've kind of been leaning toward Ohio State for quite some time, but you decided to pull the trigger. What made you decide to commit now versus maybe waiting a little bit?
You know, I felt like I've known my decision since maybe June. You know, I felt like I've known that this is home. You know, I'm from Ohio. I'm a real Ohio kid. I grew up a Big Ten kid. So it just felt right this whole time. And, you know, in my mind, I'm just like, you know, what's the point of waiting anymore? I know where home is and I know where I want to go.
Yeah, and obviously there are things that led to that decision. You had 45 offers, something like that. I mean, Clemson, LSU, Texas, Oklahoma, Michigan, Florida State, Penn State, Oregon. We could go on and on, pretty much almost every national power. What was it about Ohio State that made them the pick over, you know, those 44 other schools?
You know, I really want to say I have the strongest relationship with Coach Al Washington. You know, ever since, you know, we hit quarantine, he's been talking to me a lot. You know, it was probably like 2 to 3 times a week. And I just always felt like, you know, this is a coach I really want to play for and a coach I really want to win national championships with. You know, that, and also Ohio State obviously standing out with me being from Cincinnati. You know, I have my whole entire family there, mom and dad side. And I know they'd be nothing but proud of me, you know, to play for my hometown, play for my home state, and, you know, bring a national championship to Columbus.
Yeah, and I want to talk about your relationship with the coaches. I know things maybe started out with Coach Wilson. Your dad coached under him in Indiana, and you obviously know him for a really long time. And then they, you know, he let Coach Washington and Coach Coombs kind of lead the charge on your recruitment. Your relationship with those guys, what is it like, and how key was that for your decision?
You know, having such a strong relationship with them was definitely a huge jump in my decision. You know, something that was huge for me to look at. That, you know, Coach Combs, me and his relationship, even though he's the defensive back coach, but, you know, he thinks I could do anything with that defense. You know, he sees me as a swift Army knife too. You know, he sees me moving around and kind of being like that real hybrid too. So, you know, him and then Coach Washington, who I look at, you know, as more than just a coach, you could say that, you know, I could go to him about anything. So both of them played a real huge part in my recruitment, and having such a strong relationship with them really just helped me make an earlier decision.
Yeah, and I know you were originally supposed to wait to visit so that you can meet Coach Day in person, but obviously it doesn't look like visits are going to be happening for anyone anytime soon. So I know you talked to the coaches and you got the go-ahead to make this decision. What has your relationship with Coach Day been like? Have you gotten to know him at all, you know, through these Zoom calls and anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. Me and Coach Day have a great relationship too. You know, he loves me, he loves the character, and he loves my goals that I have when I get to Ohio State. You know, me and him obviously we're still building a relationship just like with all the other coaches, you know, but we have a great relationship. You know, he loves me as a player and as a person. You know, he's a head coach I could definitely see myself playing for and, you know, winning national championships for. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and you gave him and the rest of the staff the news. I think it was last night, I believe, on a FaceTime call before you announced publicly today that, you know, you were going to be going to Ohio State. What was their reaction when you told them the news?
You know, I could just I remember Coach Combs started jumping up. You know, he was real excited. Coach Washington, you know, he probably already kind of knew it was coming. You know, me and his strong relationship, he could kind of build it and see it upcoming. But, you know, he was super happy to have me on board. And Coach Day was with his son. You know, they were both real excited to have me on board. So, you know, it just feels like home. You know, seeing their excitement and everything like that. Just it gets me real excited to get up to Columbus and play.
Yeah, and I know you've been to Ohio State when you were maybe a younger kid, but you haven't been as a recruit. Was that kind of like a hurdle a little bit for you? Like, did you feel like you really wanted to see things first? Obviously, you decided to commit without seeing things, but I guess with that said, number one, was that kind of a holdup for you? And number two, how excited are you to get to campus once you're able to do that?
Obviously I wanted to visit Columbus and, get a feel for everything. But, it wasn't much of a hesitation when I wanted to commit there and not visiting. Coming from, I am an Ohio kid. I've been in Ohio, 9 years of my life. My parents met in Columbus. So, I know all about Ohio and everything like that. But I mean, I'm beyond excited to have my first time on campus be as a commit when I get up there. Real excited.
Yeah, and talk about the class you're going to be a part of. I mean, you got now yourself, CJ Hicks, Gabe Powers, Jair Brown, Tegra Teshbola. It's a really good class, some really high ranked kids, some really talented kids. What was it, how big was that knowing that you were going to be joining a group? 2021 class is number one in the country. I think you guys, the base you have, it looks like you have a shot to at least, be number one in the country. If not, you're probably going to be a top five class. How big was that in your decision to know that you're going to be playing alongside guys like that?
It was real huge. CJ Hicks was definitely a huge role in my recruitment too. I could say that. Me and him are going to me and him in Columbus is going to be a real problem. Two of probably the best linebackers in the country teaming up. Are both tall. We both could play safety too, so we both can move. And we're both willing hitters. So, that was obviously Jair too was a big jump because now we have one of the best DBs in the country too. Same with Gabe, one of the best linebackers also. So just combining that all together, this class is going to be real special. I can promise you that, and I don't see it falling anywhere behind number one.
And you guys, you talked about the linebackers a little bit. You and CJ are kind of that hybrid safety linebacker. As you say, Coach Combs could put you all over the place, Swiss Army knife you. You could rush the passer. You could drop back in coverage. You could really do it all. And then Gabe's a little bit different. I'd say he's more of like the linebacker D-end hybrid probably down the road. So it's nice that you guys have some versatility. But it seems like this is going to be the year of the linebacker for Ohio State. You got you three already. I know Sean Murphy's on the board. There's a couple other guys on the board. Maybe they add another player to that mix. How has Coach Washington told you, how are they going to use you when you get to Columbus, and how do all the pieces fit into the puzzle?
They're going to use me as a hybrid Sam linebacker, someone who blitzes off the edge, but someone who also mans up on the three or the tight end, someone who can also take out the running back. So, just a very fast, physical player that can move around. I could drop in the post too. Just having all those versatilities, to my toolbox really can help me play at a lot of spots early. You can play me, you can kind of put me anywhere, and I can make it happen at a high level.
Yeah, and I know, with your dad being who he is, I know you obviously know the benefits of enrolling early and things like that. Is enrolling early in Columbus something you're going to be able to do?
Oh yeah, 100%. I will be enrolling early in the Columbus, and so I'll be there, that January.
And what goes into that decision for you to enroll early?
It's really like a no-brainer to me. Like my brother is at Miami of Ohio, and he told me that that was probably the best thing he did was enrolling early. You're months ahead of other freshmen coming in, and just as a team basis, the incoming freshmen get a head start in the playbook and everything like that. So I kind of get a chance to develop more in those months to college itself and the football team. So I feel like it's a no-brainer to get up to Columbus early.
Yeah. With that said, what are your goals for when you get to Columbus for your career there? Right, like 3 to 5 years. What are your goals, both individually and for the team?
I'm definitely a guy. I've been asked the same questions from my high school team. It's the same answer every time. I just want to win championships. So, I'm on 3 to 4 years, 3 to 4 championships is what I'm going for. Nothing less than that. Individually, I just want to live up to the potential I know I could play at, which is very high, and then just get a chance to play in the NFL, which is the ultimate goal.
That would be awesome. And if you're able to do that, that would mean you did some pretty good things in Columbus for Ohio State. So I think a lot of people would be happy with that. And the last thing I want to ask you about your game is, for fans who haven't watched your film or haven't seen you play, what are you going to bring to the program on the field, but also what are you going to bring to the program off the field and in the locker room and in the community?
Off the field, you're getting a great person, someone who knows and someone who participates in the community, within community service and everything like that. I'm real active in the community. I don't get in any trouble off the field, everything like that. On the field, they're getting somebody completely different and a type of linebacker Ohio State's never had. You're going to get me coming in at like 6'5", 240. So it's just a type of linebacker they've never had that can also run a 4.5. So I'm just bringing in something completely different. I'm going to make sure that rubs off on everybody, too, and bring some national championships to Columbus.
Definitely. And last thing I wanted to touch on, I'm sure you're aware recently, the decision of the Big Ten to postpone the current fall season to the spring. That's the plan right now. We'll see if that actually happens. Obviously, a lot of Ohio State fans and players and coaches disappointed in that decision. They felt like they obviously had a national championship type of team. When you heard that news, what was your reaction?
I was actually really surprised that the Big Ten decided to cancel. I figured they'd be one of the conferences that didn't cancel along with the SEC. That's kind of the two conferences I definitely saw playing. So I was real shocked. I was actually really disappointed. But, that's actually something that probably helped me more than discouraged me away from Ohio State. I saw what Coach Day was doing for those players and the way those players were stepping up as a team together to really show everyone that they want to play. That was something real special and something that I've never seen with another team, do that, especially their head coach go through all those ties just to make it clear that his team wants to play and that all of our players want to play. So that was something that really just helped me gain respect for Coach Day. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a good mindset. I think a lot of people were worried that recruits would hear the news and it would be bad for Ohio State recruiting. People wouldn't want to play for Ohio State or play for the Big Ten because of this decision. But to your point, like, number one, God forbid if something does happen to the conferences who do end up playing, the Big Ten could sit back and be like, well, we actually were looking out for our student athletes. But to your point, it's very clear that Ohio State wants to play, or at least wants their players to have the choice to be able to play or opt out. And so I think to your point, it's showing that, Ohio State is a family and that, they do care for their players genuinely. I just wanted to get your opinion real quick. Have you heard from any other recruits on how that decision is potentially like reflecting on Ohio State or the Big Ten?
Yeah, I talked to a lot of the top recruit guys with 2022, and it's not affecting any of them with a school in a negative way at all. Like, I'm pretty sure they're all aware it's not really the school's decision at this point. It's the presidents and everything like that kind of deciding who gets to play. So none of them are taking that as if this Big Ten school isn't playing, well, I don't want to go there or something like that. Like, this is probably a once in a lifetime thing anyway. So, they're all treating it, as normal, taking their approach to it.
Well, let's hope it's definitely a once in a lifetime thing. Last question. We're going to put you on the spot here. Now that you're committed, you're in the class, you're in a different role. Are you going to take on a role to help recruit other great players to Ohio State? And who are some of those players you might go after right away?
Yeah, I'm probably going to do a better job than CJ I'm trying to do right now. I'm going to try to pass him up. So I'm definitely going to be active in that, of course. Some players, let me throw out a big name first. Jeremiah Alexander, who's currently committed to Alabama. I think that he'd be great here. Damani Jackson, who's a corner at Modern Day. I feel like those are two real big names. I've been recruiting a lot. There's some other guys, too, that could definitely get in there, but those guys might be a little bit closer, so I'm going to kind of keep that under the cover until that comes out.
All right. Well, that's what Ohio State fans like to hear. Dassan, thanks for joining the show. Congratulations on your commitment to Ohio State. We're looking forward to hopefully seeing you play this upcoming season, and then obviously, next year, and then seeing you come to Ohio State in January of 2022.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Go Buckeyes.
This episode of Around the Oval was brought to you by Todd Pennington with Renovation Mortgage. If you've been thinking about refinancing or buying a house, check out our sponsor, Todd Pennington with Renovation Mortgage. They offer low rates for refinancing and home purchase loans, including first-time home buyer programs, down payment assistance, and cash-out home equity loans. Check out revolutionmortgage.com/tpennington.